What's up guys, Meredith with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we are checking out the Ford Performance grille and tailgate emblems in black, fitting all 2018 through 2020 F-150s without the forward-facing camera, and all 2021 through 2023 Lariat XLT and XL F-150s without the 360 cameras. Now, if you are looking for the finishing details of your blacked out build, or just simply a stylish way to refresh the badges on your truck, this set is going to be a great one to look at. Now, these genuine Ford badges are good for the F-150 owner with a blacked out theme to their build, or prefer more of that neutral vibe when it comes to the smaller details on their truck, and want an easy and good looking way to complete the appearance. Now, I mentioned that these are going to fit great with the blacked out theme when it comes to trim and accessories, which is true, but honestly, the black oval and the chrome Ford lettering is going to complement any color scheme that you have on your truck. Now, aside from the styling of these badges, these are going to be a factory size replacement and carry that genuine Ford quality, so you can trust that these are not only going to fit well on your truck, but last. They do have a decent amount of weight to them for an emblem. Again, they are genuine Ford and have all of the factory style attachments on the back, so you really don't have to question when it comes to a front and rear replacement. These are made of a black and chrome plastic with a glossy appearance to the black, both on the front and the rear emblem here. And the chrome will have more of that satin finish for a premium appearance. Now on the front, you're also going to get an outline of plastic here. This will match with any factory trim that you have that has this plastic construction to it, and it does have a texture, so it's going to look exactly like the factory plastic trim. Now the materials here are going to hold up very well to weathering over time and are made to factory spec, bolting and clipping right into place. The rear tailgate emblem does have a large pad of adhesive on the back, along with factory style clips and studs. So again, it's going to make it very easy to install and hassle-free. Now these badges are going to come in at about $150 for the package, and for badges that may seem a little steep. However, with the size and the genuine Ford quality of this set, that's going to be a pretty decent price point. Now it's also a matching set between both the front and the rear if you want to again add in matching details or create a cohesive appearance with your build and you want to do it with genuine Ford parts. This is going to be a great pick to look at. Install here will be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. It's very easy to do and should probably take you about an hour or so to get the job done. Now, speaking of the install, one of our customers here has actually installed this on their F-150 and is going to walk you through what the process looks like step by step. So that is going to wrap it up for my review. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
Hey everybody, today we're going to be changing the badges on the front and rear of a 2018 F-150. This is an XL trim. We're going to change the original blue Ford logo badge off of the grille and the tailgate over to a black badge, the Ford Performance version. So with that being said, we'll just get started. First thing we're going to show you is exactly what we're going to use to do this. Just a few simple tools that most people have around the house. We've got a 3/8 ratchet, a 9-inch extension, a 10, an 8, and a 7mm socket. And I do have a trim removal tool. You can use a slotted screwdriver if you prefer, but the trim removal tool actually makes it a little easier. So to begin, we're going to remove 2 7mm bolts off of the rear of the front valance. If you could see that, there's one there and one there. You've got 2 7mm on each side, right in front of the front tire. That will be able to remove the valance from in front of the headlights, below the headlights, in order to get to the bolts to remove the grille. I closed the garage door so it was a little easier to see this part here. So we're going to grab our 7mm socket, 3/8 ratchet, and go ahead and get started. I want to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing here. Just removing these. And we'll set those aside for now. And then we're gonna move over to the other side next. Okay, so we're moving on to the driver's side here. Again, just the two 7mm bolts. And next we're going to move on to the front of the truck. I'll show you exactly what we're going to do. I'm going to get the door back open so we have some better light though. So the next thing we're going to be removing is going to be the push pins across the front of the shroud above the radiator. They're located all the way across over here, and even there's one behind the air intake. So you've got 5 across the front that have holes in the heads. Those are you just pry up on. The other 14, I believe, are just flat heads and can be removed separately. Okay, as I said, we're going to be using a trim removal tool, or a slotted tool here, just to remove the heads, pull the heads up on these pins in order to get this shroud or the cover off of the top of the radiator to get to the bolts underneath it. So all we're going to do is pretty simple. You can pry up on the head till it pops up, and then you can just give it a little pop underneath it, and those come right out just like that. So that's simple as it is. Unfortunately, there's, like I said, 5 across the front here, and then you've got 14 of the others. So we'll continue that. I'm gonna set those aside. All right, so we just come over here. You can see we've got the head on there. There is a little slot. I'll grab you so I can show you what I'm talking about. So in the side of these heads, there's a small slot because they're difficult to get underneath. So if you can get something underneath there, it helps to get it pried up. Make sense? All right, I'll put you back in the holder. So we're just going to continue with that 14 times. Sometimes you'll have ones that the head pops completely out of, not a big deal. Just pull the base out, the head pops right back in it, no problem. There's one side that's larger than the other. You gotta make sure you get it in the right way, but it goes right back in. And again, as I said, don't forget the one that's back here behind the air intake. Looks like I might have got them all. Nope, missed one right over here. Okay, now that we've got all of those removed from here, it's pretty straightforward and simple. The only thing you need to do is lift up on your air intake a bit, and you can pick up and slide this shroud right out of the way and set it off to the side for right now. Once you have that shroud removed, there are 4 10mm head bolts across the top of the grill, as well as some electrical connections here. There's one here and one here. Depending on the model, yours may have only one, sometimes 2. In this case, it's for the horn, I believe, and the shutters on the grill. So to remove those, it's fairly straightforward. There's a clip on one side. If you push down on that clip and lift up, it pops right out. Same thing on this one. I'm gonna push on the clip and we'll lift up, and it pops right out. And I will tell you, there's a keeper right here that you need to lift out of the hole as well. That's actually attached to the grill. So when you go to pull the grill out, if you don't pull that out, it's going to hold on to the grill. So I'm going to put you back in the holder here, and we'll remove that keeper as well as the 4 bolts across the top. Okay, as I said, the keeper, you can use the same tool that I used before. I'm going to slide that underneath here. And we're going to lift up on that. Just like that. Just got teeth on it that hold it into the hole. Stick that right there behind the latch because that's not going anywhere. And then we'll move on to removing those 10mm bolts. So again, I've got a 3/8 ratchet, a 10mm socket. I'm actually going to put an extension on it. You don't need this long one, but it's the one I got in front of me. We'll start with the leftmost one here. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th. Okay, now that we have all the bolts and the pins removed, as well as the electrical connections across the top, we're going to remove the front valance that we took the bolts out of, the 2 7mm bolts off of either side. And to do that, it's pretty straightforward. All we want to do is you want to grip right behind on this piece of plastic in your wheel well, just like that, with 2 hands, and you're going to pop that out, just like that. That's all held in by plastic clips right across the top here after you remove those 2 bolts off the back. I've moved back to the driver's side now. Same thing on this side. We're just going to grab right behind that lip, pry out on it a little bit until those clips across the top release. Once you have the 2 sides released from there and the passenger side, you can come to the front and literally slide this thing right out. You can see I've got the whole front valance now out. There are white clips, plastic clips, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 that clip in to the front of the bumper. You can set that aside with the shroud. Okay, and the next thing I want to show you is what we're going to remove. On the front of the truck, underneath the headlight, you're going to have 2 bolts. You'll have one there and one there. My headlight, I haven't put the attachment back on it to put that bolt in. So of your 2 bolts, you're going to want to remove the innermost bolt closest to the grill on both sides. So this is directly, like I said, underneath your headlight. So the innermost bolt, that's going to be an 8mm head. And then same thing on this side, on the passenger side, the innermost bolt closest to the grill is the one that you'll want to remove. Okay, we are back on the passenger side. I'm going to get my 8mm socket, my extension, and my 3/8 ratchet, and we're going to remove those 8mm head bolts that are holding the front of the grill in. And now we're on the driver's side of the truck. Same thing, right inside there where the 8mm bolt is. That's what the bolt looks like. You can set that aside. Okay, now that we have all the bolts and accessories removed that we need to remove, it's as simple as pulling forward on the grill. There's 2 plastic clips behind each side of the grill in the middle of the headlights here, and here. You can actually just grab your grill from one side, give it a tug to release those clips. Same thing from the other side. It'll release those. Now there's a rubber piece underneath here, so you may have to wiggle it a bit to get it out of there because there's posts on it. There it is. So that's it. Take the grill and set it aside. Okay, so now that we have the grill removed off the vehicle, from the back side, if you take a look in between the shutters, you can see that there's a couple nuts right there, and there on the left side, looking from the back, and one on the right. Those are 10mm heads. You'll just use your 10mm socket and an extension. Now those are only on plastic studs, so they're not going to take a whole lot to remove. So again, we're just going to tilt the grill up. We can get between the shutters there. We'll turn those off. Once you get them started off, you could probably just use the extension to turn them. And don't worry if they fall off into the bottom of the grill. There's nowhere they can really get stuck. Just turn the grill forward. I suggest put a hand on the emblem because it will just fall out once these 3 studs are removed. Okay, I'll turn that around so you can see what I'm talking about. Now that those 3 nuts are off of the plastic studs on the back of the emblem, it just comes right out. You can see there's 1, 2, 3 studs. That's the old one. Here you have the new one. It's got the black background with the brushed metal rather than the chrome. I think that'll look nice. So we'll set the old one aside and we'll continue just reversing the installation. The new one has the same 3 studs. We're gonna slide it in there. And all I'm gonna do is put that nut, put my hand on the emblem, lean this back so you don't drop the nut. Between the shutters, find that stud. That's one. And again, these are just plastic studs on the back of this emblem, so you don't want to wrench it down too tight. Just strip that plastic right out. Okay, the front emblem is installed on your grill. Okay, so I'm going to take the grill, pick it up, I'm going to slide it right back. I want to show you though, these 2 studs here and here, posts sticking out of the back of the grill, or shroud. Those have 2 holes that they fit in the rad support. One right there and one right there. We're going to slide this right back into where it goes. Line those posts up into those holes. Give it a tap right here. Lock those 2 clips in. Same thing on this side. Lock the 2 clips in. Should be able to let it go now. It's pretty sturdy. And we're gonna just reverse the process. We're gonna get our 3/8 ratchet with an 8mm socket and an extension. The silver bolt that you took out from the innermost bolt here, we're going to reinstall it the same way we took it out. Just put it back through there. Should already be lined up pretty good. All right, and we'll move on to the driver's side. Same thing here on the driver's side. We'll place that bolt back in that hole. Get it started. All right. Now that we have those 2 bolts back in, the front valance that you removed can go back in as well. So again, just got the clips across the top, and on the inside, we are going to line it up in the middle here. Same thing underneath the headlights. The only thing left on this now, in the wheel wells here, is to get that clip back around the wheel well itself. If you just line it up, give it a nice little tap. Sometimes those pins don't want to line up, or what can happen is you bend one of the brackets underneath there. You do stand it back up, line it up, and it pops right back in. And we'll go over and do the passenger side next. Here we are on the passenger side. Again, make sure these are lined up. Give it a little tap, should pop right back into place. We'll continue putting the bolts back in the top and then we'll put those last 4 in the sides when we're finished with that. Okay, here we are back at the top of the truck in the above the grill here. Again, we're gonna need our 10mm socket and ratchet, and we'll grab the 4 10mm head bolts that we removed from here, 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 and here. We're gonna place those back in the holes. Okay, 4 bolts are back in. Next thing we're going to do is reconnect the electrical connections that we removed. So if you remember, we took these 2 out. You need to put that pin back in that hole. You can see right there. Push it back in so it holds it in place. And then I'll show you a little closer up here. Again, 2 different sizes. Got a smaller one and a larger one. The 8-pin and a 4-pin. And we've got the 8-pin closest to the passenger side. So we're just going to line that up so that that fits into that. Push in until you hear it click. Same thing with this one. We're gonna line it up just like that. And then we'll just push in until you hear it click. All right. Okay, so the last 2 things we have are the push pins across the top and the 4 7mm bolts on the ends of the valance. The push pins, just make sure the heads are up. The ones with the hole in the head go in the front in these 5 spots. Once you slide it in there, you just push it down. Same thing with the ones that have the flat head. Make sure the head's up, push it down. That's simple. Just do that for all of them. Again, don't forget about the one hiding behind the air intake over here. Get it in, push it down. All right, shroud is back in. Electrical connections are connected. 4 bolts are put in underneath this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got the 2 front ones in before we put the valance on. And the last thing we have are the 4 bolts on both sides of the vehicle. Okay, here we are back on the passenger side to put these 2 7mm head bolts in. Got a 7mm socket, my 3/8 ratchet, and the two bolts that go in the back of there. Close the door again so you could get a little better picture here. Line those up, thread them in. Right, and then we'll move over to the driver's side. Okay, we're back on the driver's side. Install those 2 bolts. You can see this sticks out a little bit. You can always just push in on it when you put the whole head in and tighten it down, it'll hold it back in the body line. You've got an air ratchet or a cordless ratchet, make it a lot easier and quicker. But I wouldn't tighten them too tight because it's just the metal clips behind there. All right, I'll show you the finished product here. Okay, everyone, there you have it. That's the front grille emblem on a 2018 F-150 XL trim. I believe these work on the XL, XLT. I'm not sure what other models. Pretty straightforward. All we're gonna do is flip the truck around to get to the tailgate, and we'll go through that process next. Thank you guys very much. Okay, welcome back everybody. So now we're going to do the tailgate. The only tools that we really need for that is a heat gun if it's cold outside, or if the sun hasn't been beating on that emblem, you want to try and heat it up. I'm sure that a hair dryer would probably work as well. A plastic trim removal tool, and I'm going to use an impact gun. This is just a T25 head. You can use a T25 nut driver if you want to manually turn the bolts. And that is if your 8 bolts in your bed are in your bed liner. If you just have a metal stock back and there's no plastic here, most likely those are a Phillips head screw. But you want to remove all 8 of those to get to the back side of the latch where the emblem actually clips in. Now we're going to go ahead and remove, strip them. Apparently it's a T20, not a 25. My apologies. Come right out, set them in the bed here. If you've got a bed liner, a Ford bed liner, you just pull the plastic off there, set it aside. The metal piece from the factory that's here will be loose now. If you don't have a bed liner and this piece is here, your screws are going to be on top of the metal here, and that's what you want to remove. Slide it over, pull it off, it literally comes right off. I'm going to show you inside here. You can see where the back of the emblem is located. We're looking right in that location. That location right back there behind the latch. And I'll show you from the driver's side as well. You can see right there. See the metal clips that are on it? So those are just going to push out from the emblem. So you're going to push from the back side after you heat the adhesive up. There's adhesive double stick tape on the emblem, and that's all that's holding it on there, along with those 5 metal clips. Okay, so we're going to heat the emblem up. Maybe 60 seconds on low will do it. Not a whole lot. You don't have to get close. Just move it around on it so that it heats that adhesive up. Okay, so once you have the emblem heated up, got the new one here, all we're going to do is push from the back side, and you want to pry around the edge of the emblem. You just work your way around the emblem while pushing from the back side. The emblem will pop right out, and you'll have the metal clips on the back side of it. The new emblem will have the metal clips along with it, as well as new adhesive. So you want to clean off all the adhesive off the back of the tailgate so that the new adhesive will stick well. That's all there is to it, to removing it. Okay, so the new emblem, all you have to do is line up the 2 posts on the side, push it in till those clips, you hear the clips clip in on the metal, and give it a good push a couple times, just so that that adhesive adheres into it. And there you have it. You grab the old one. Old one versus the new one. I really prefer the brushed silver rather than the chrome, and I do like the black, especially with the lead foot gray. Very simple, straightforward install. Now we're going to continue with reinstalling the inside of the tailgate. So again, we have our metal plate here. Some trucks you may only have this plate. if you don't have a bed liner, line up the holes. Grab the piece of plastic that goes on there since I have a bed liner. Line up those holes. Give it a turn. Do it for each one. There's 8 of them again. And that's it, folks. Close up our tailgate. And you've got a new Ford emblem.
So that's going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the Ford Performance Grille and tailgate emblems in black, fitting all 2018 through 2020 F-150s without the forward-facing camera, and all 2021 through 2023 Lariat XL and XLT F-150s without the 360 camera. And you can find this right here at AmericanTrucks.com.